He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the sunnah, worship Him, just follow them.
Assalamu alaikum. New class coming to you every Monday and Wednesdays, taught by Ustadha Laila Nasheeba, the fiqh of prayer. Every Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Inshallah, we'll see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
I was sitting here just talking. Let me start over again. Inna alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our series on the prayer. And I was saying that tonight what I'm going to do is speak about the mosque and its sanctity, and also some of the rules in regards to the mosque. A lot of you ask me about praying the 2 rakats that you pray when you go to the mosque. A lot of you ask me, are there certain rules and regulations that have to be maintained and honored in regards to the mosque? Well, I'm going to answer those type of questions tonight, inshallah. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. And for those of you who are my new shahadas, this class, the 9:30 class, is not as long as the 6:30. The 6:30 class is the most important class that I teach here. So that class can go on for a couple of hours, but not this one. This is going to be short because I try to keep the 9:30 class short because I know many of you have to go to work. Plus, I'm usually tired like I am now. I'm tired and I'm ready to relax and write in my book or watch Teen Wolf or something, you know. But anyway, so this is not going to be too long of a class. Okay, inshallah, you guys should be able to see the PowerPoint. And like I said, we're going to speak about some of the rules regarding the mosque. And as always, when I use this PowerPoint is from one of my old PowerPoints, and it's so small I can't read it, so I have to use my other computer here. Okay, first of all, guys, let me make something important. Stress something that's important to the new shahadas too. One of the things that Allah did for us that He didn't do for the Jews or the Christians or the people that came before us is He gave us a special blessing. And that blessing is that the entire earth is a mosque for us. What does that mean? That means that we can pray anywhere on this earth except for a pasture of a camel. But I can pray outside. We can pray in a park. We can pray anywhere. You know, the entire earth is a place where we can pray. And this is something that's specific just for us. We have this hadith, whereas the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, what was the first mosque ever created? And I want y'all to understand this. This is a good trivia question. What was the first mosque ever built on earth? The first mosque built on earth was Masjid al-Haram, the mosque in Mecca. And then the second mosque that was built is Masjid al-Aqsa, the one in Jerusalem. And the Prophet was asked how much time was there between the building of the two. The Prophet said 42 years. So the first mosque built was the mosque in Mecca. As you guys know, who built that? Adam alayhi salam, Prophet Adam. And then 42 years later, one of Adam's descendants built the mosque in Jerusalem. And then the prophet said, wherever you may be at the time of prayer, if you can't get to a mosque, you can pray wherever you are, because the entire earth is a mosque for us. So what does that mean? Let's say, for example, you brothers are out, okay, and you can't get to a mosque. The weather is bad or something. You can't get to the mosque to pray, and you can't get home to pray. You can pull over and get out your car and pray on the side of the road. That's an example, because the entire earth is a mosque for us. And this is authentic. All the group are in agreement to this. And so now what I want to do is speak about the reward. A lot of you ask me about donating. One of the things that I'm always saying is, if you want to really get reward for helping the Muslims in your community and the Muslims around the world, I tell my students, divide your zakat up into 2 parts. Give half of it to the mosque, your local mosque, because the prophet said that the people most deserving of your charity other than your family is the Muslims in your community. Okay? And then the other half, you want to help the Muslims around the world? Give the other half of your zakat to this website, because the best gift you can give to any Muslim is the gift of knowledge of this religion and understanding of this deen. So by donating to this website, you're donating to the whole world, because the Muslims, no matter where they are in the world, they can log in on their cell phone and learn this deen. And also, there's a lot of reward in building a mosque. Alhamdulillah, last Ramadan, we all did a good deed here at Sunnahfollowers. The elderly women in my Zoom room, alhamdulillah, we donated. We all brought our money together and we built a mosque. We built a mosque for some Muslims who were needy of it in Ghana. Remember that last year? We also fed 3 villages. Our zakat went to feed 3 villages in Ghana, and we built a mosque. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Whoever builds a mosque for the sake of Allah, seeking Allah's pleasure, Allah will build for him a house in paradise. That's the reward we get for building a mosque. That's the reward you get for donating to have a mosque built. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever builds for Allah a mosque, even if it's a tiny mosque like the size of a bird's nest, Allah will build for you a house in paradise. So it doesn't matter what size, how big the mosque is. That's the reward, because you're building a place where the people can come together to glorify, praise, and remember Allah. Also, another question that many other Muslims ask me, when I'm going to the mosque, should I make supplications? Well, it's sunnah. It's sunnah when you're driving to the mosque to talk to Allah. And what I'm going to do now is give you some examples of what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say when he was going to the mosque, walking to the mosque. Salama, who was one of his wives, she said when the Prophet left the home, he would say, in the name of Allah, I put my trust in Allah. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you, so that at least I stray or be led astray, or cause injustice, or suffer injustice, or do wrong. or have wrong done to me. So that's one of the many supplications. Excuse me, my lips are so chapped. That's one of the many supplications that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would recite when going to the mosque. Also, he would sometimes, he said, whoever leaves the house and says, in the name of Allah, I put my trust in Allah. There is no power, there is no might except with Allah. Whenever you recite those words, the Prophet said those words is all you will need to keep you guided, to keep you protected, to keep you defended. And the devil will turn away from you. So you want to teach this supplication to your kids. When your kids leave the house to go to school or go anywhere, go to the grocery store. When you leave to go to the grocery store to check the mail, say in the name of Allah, I put my trust. There is no power, there is no might except with Allah. And yes, these can be said in English because what you're doing is saying the meaning. Also, we have this hadith, whereas the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left for the mosque and he said, "Oh Allah, make light in my heart and light in my vision and light in my hearing and light on my right and light behind me and light in my nerves and light in my flesh and light in my blood and light in my hair and light in my skin." This is something that he said one time when he was leaving the mosque, leaving for the mosque. So there's many different supplications from our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that he taught us to make when leaving the home or when leaving to go to the mosque. Also, the Prophet said, if a person leaves his house to go to the mosque and says, "Oh Allah, I ask you by the right of the suppliant upon you and by the right of this walking, as I have not come out in an arrogant or unthankful manner or to show off or for fame. Instead, I am leaving in fear of your anger and desiring your pleasure. I ask you to save me from the hellfire and to give me my sins, because no one forgives sins except you." If you make that supplication when you leave the house to go to the mosque, Allah will assign 70,000 angels to ask forgiveness for you. And Allah will turn his face to you until you finish praying at the mosque. And again, all of these hadiths are authentic. Okay? Also, this was a question that one of the brothers asked me for my Q&A, and I answered it, and here's the dalil. It is sunnah for a person who wants to enter the mosque to enter with your right foot first and say, "I seek refuge in Allah and by his honorable face and in his everlasting authority from the outcast shaitan. In the name of Allah, O Allah, shower blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad. O Allah, forgive me my sins and open for me the doors of your mercy." This is a sunnah. Does that mean that you have to do it? No. But it's a sunnah to enter the mosque with your right foot. And it's also a sunnah to leave the mosque with your left foot. And when you leave the mosque with your left foot, say, "In the name of Allah, O Allah, shower blessings upon the Prophet. O Allah, forgive me my sins and open for me the doors of your blessings. O Allah, protect me from shaitan." So this is a sunnah, and I gave that answer to the Q&A before. Okay? And we do these sunnahs to get the reward. And also for you brothers There's so many blessings that you brothers get for walking to the mosque or driving to the mosque. The prophet said, if anyone goes back and forth to the mosque to attend the prayers, Allah will prepare for him a feast in paradise as often as he goes back and forth. You brothers are supposed to be praying your obligatory prayers at the mosque, all 5 of them. You should be making all 5 of your prayers at the mosque. You got a car, drive back and forth. Look at the blessings you get for going to make your prayers at the mosque. Allah will prepare a feast in paradise for you for all the times that you go back and forth to pray. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you see a man attending the mosque, then you can testify that he has faith, because Allah says the attendants of Allah's mosque are those who believe in Allah on the last day. This is how you find a righteous man. Like I tell you, sisters, you're not going to find a righteous man on the internet. Righteous men don't hang out in clubs. Righteous men don't hang out in bars. Righteous men don't hang out on social media. Righteous men hang out at the mosques. They go back and forth. What does that mean? When the prophet says, if you see a man frequenting the mosque, that means he goes to the mosque to pray all 5 of his prayers. He don't just go once a week. He doesn't just go once a month or just on Juma. No, this hadith is talking about the man that goes to pray all 5 of his prayers. You see him at Fajr. You see him at Dhuhr. You see him at Asr. You see him at Maghrib. And you see him at Isha. That's a man who is righteous, because only the righteous do that. Okay? And if you sisters are looking for marriage, well, first of all, you have to be a righteous woman, because righteous men are only for righteous women. Like I told you sisters yesterday, some of you got to clean up your lifestyle. You sisters that can't control your private parts, y'all got some other issues going on. These type of men are not going to marry you. I'm sorry, you sisters who can't control your sexual desires, you're not going to find a man like this, because a man like this has fear of Allah, and he fears disease, and he fears you not guarding in his absence what he would have you guard. So you can forget it. Until you sisters learn to master your private parts, you won't get this type of man. You will be lucky to get the kind of man that comes to the mosque once a year, to be honest. You'll be lucky to get the Ramadan Muslim. Okay, but this type of man, this is for my girls that grew up here, my Bantus, the righteous girls here. Okay? When you sisters are ready to get married, this is the type of man that your father's going to look for. He's going to look at the mosque and see what young brothers come to the mosque to perform all 5 of their prayers. That's how they can determine if this is a brother that has fear of Allah. Okay? You new shahadas that can't control the loins, y'all ain't gonna find this. These brothers don't, they scared of women like you. They ain't gonna touch you with a 10-foot pole. I'm just keeping it real. All right. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if anyone purifies himself at home and then walks to the mosque to fulfill the obligations laid down by Allah, then for each step that you take, one of your sins will be erased, and Allah will raise you up to a higher degree. This is the virtues. When you brothers talk about how far you live away from home, look at all the sins being erased. As you're driving, that's a 45-minute drive. I think about Sister Layla's husband. He's 45 minutes from a mosque. Every time he drives to the mosque, every step that car takes, a sin of his is being erased, a minor sin. And he's being raised up in his degree closer to Allah. Okay? So you don't sit there and say, I live too far. Get in that car and hustle. Get to that mosque and get them sins forgiven. Okay? And a lot of you ask about, excuse me, my allergies. A lot of you ask about the 2 rakat prayer. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever you come to the mosque, you should pray 2 rakats before you sit. And it means exactly that. If you sit down, it's too late. In other words, when you first enter the mosque, you're going to enter with your right foot. And then you're going to immediately go into the masala and make 2 rakats. You're not going to go and sit down and then say, oh, let me go do it. If you sit down, it's too late. And again, you get blessings for those 2 rakats. Now, is this an obligatory prayer? No. If I don't do it, will Allah curse me for it, or will I lose? No. It's not an obligatory prayer. Okay, but it's something that is strongly, highly encouraged for anyone to do when they enter the mosque. The 2 rakats. And now we're going to talk about the 3 best mosques for praying. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi, and again, all these hadiths about the virtues of praying in the mosque apply to men, not women. New shahadas, don't get it twisted. A woman gets more blessings praying in her bedroom, in her house, than at any mosque. Any hadith you read about the virtues of congregational prayer, the virtues of praying in the mosque are all aimed at men, not women. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said prayer in the mosque in Mecca is like 100,000 prayers made anywhere else. Prayer in the mosque in Medina is like 1,000 prayers prayed anywhere else. And prayer in the mosque in Jerusalem is like 500 prayers elsewhere. So here you can see the best mosque to pray in for reward is the mosque in Mecca. That was the first mosque built. Then the second mosque to pray in is a mosque in Medina. And then the third mosque to pray in with the most blessings is the one in Jerusalem. And a lot of people say, well, why wouldn't Jerusalem be second? Since it's the second, the mosque that was built secondly. Well, the answer is easy. Because the Prophet Muhammad perfected the sunnah of every prophet that came before him. And like we said in our previous class, even if Jesus, and when Jesus does come back, he has no choice but to reinstate the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. The Prophet Muhammad is the one who perfected not only his mission, but the mission of all the other prophets that came before him. So of course his mosque, it brings more reward than the mosque in Jerusalem. Okay? And this hadith is authentic. And here's another hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, offering prayer in my mosque is better than 1,000 prayers anywhere else, except for the mosque in Mecca. And prayer in the mosque in Mecca is better than any other mosque by 100 prayers. Okay? And also, you guys know the hadith, if you go on a journey, he's talking about the companions who lived in that part of the world. He told them, if you go on a journey, you know, make sure you visit my mosque in Mecca, or the mosque in Medina, or the mosque in Jerusalem. That doesn't mean that you brothers, because you want to go visit your parents in Africa, you got to first go to Mecca. No. A lot of people misinterpreted hadith to mean that they can't go on any trip unless they go to one of those mosques. No. If you're in that area, you get the rewards of going to those mosques to pray. And finally, for today, I'm going to answer the question about decorations. Brother Zahir asked me about this. Brother Zahir, I threw this in here and I got the dalil, and please take screenshots. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the last hour will not come to pass until the people fight with each other, compete with each other in building masjids. A time will come when the people will compete with each other in building the mosque, but very few will attend the mosque. He's talking about today. All of these hadiths speaking about what's going to happen before the war against Islam. This is another one. It's already happening. Masjids on every corner. Even here in America, you go to some of the cities here in America, there's a masjid on every corner, but ain't nobody in there praying. They praying in Times Square, in the streets, which the Prophet said ain't of no reward compared to no mosque. Okay? Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I have not been commanded to build high and lofty masjids. You will certainly embellish them. That means decorate them as the Jews and Christians decorated their places of worship. These hadiths are authentic. We're imitating them in everything. Look at how many masjids. This is your dalil, Brother Zahir, because evidently Brother Zahir is fighting with his board at his mosque about this now. They want to put decorations in the mosque. Yes, you are correct, Brother Zahir. It's one of the signs of the last hour. And here's all the dalil. Okay? We have another hadith where Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, ordered masjids to be built. And he would say, protect the people from the rain. Beware of red and yellow decorations, because these decorations they put on the mosque may distract the people. This is authentic too. The companions didn't put all those lavish decorations on their masjids. They wanted the people to, their khushu' to be on Allah and not on just easily distracted. And also, it's from the sunnah to keep the masjids clean and smelling good, not smelling like urine. A lot of these masajids smell like urine from the kids, or they smell like bad spices from the women. Some even smell like fish from the women. Well, we have this hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered that masjids be built in residential areas and that they be kept clean and perfumed. Okay? He ordered us to build the mosque. This is from Aisha radiyallahu anha. She said he ordered us to build the mosque in the residential areas, to build them well and to purify them. Abdullah would burn incense when Umar would sit on the pulpit. So the mosque should be clean and sweet smelling. Also, Anas tells us that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the reward of my nations were placed before me, even for removing a speck of dust from the mosque. So look at all the blessings you get for removing even a speck of dust. Take a screenshot of all these hadiths, Brother Zahir, and you can present them to your board meeting. And thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome for Sister Layla doing the work for you. Tell them Sister Layla did the work. You got it? Wait a minute. He said, hold on for a second. Okay, let me, yeah. You know, what you mean you don't know how to take a screenshot? Oh, you got it? Okay, all right. Okay, so that's what I wanted to go